Risky investments or safe investments?
Risky investments.
So why do you think a lot of people don't go to a financial advisor?
If you have pain somewhere, you go to a doctor. If you have a legal problem, you go to a lawyer. But if you need an advice on finance, why do you go to your friends?
The part of taking a 25-year loan doesn't make sense.
See, I know these banks have 25 years of payment, but that's not, for me, it's not healthy because you're paying 2 times or 3 times of the property value in interest.
I want to understand a little bit more about the mindset that wealthy people have. What is different? How do they think differently?
Let me tell you this, when I meet wealthy people, they make quick decisions. That's what makes them different from being a normal mediocre to a wealthy.
So Vamsi, how's it going?
Going well.
Good. Something that, the question that first came to my mind was, what led you to quit a cozy 9 to 5 job and jump in to create something of your own?
Now that's a very detailed answer that I can give, but let me tell you this. I've seen some of the motivational videos on how entrepreneurs become, how the wealthy become. It's like I see even Andrew Tate as well. He says you get out of the matrix, not your regular 9 to 5. So that's what made me. And then it comes suddenly someday that you need to leave your 9 to 5 and then get on to 9 to 9, I would say, rather than not 9 to 5, 9 to 9, or sometimes it's 24/7. And so that's what made me let me jump into the ocean and then take it ahead. So it's something random.
Do you think it's possible to build real wealth working a 9 to 5, or do you think starting something of your own is the only way?
It depends where you're placed, what level you're placed. I've seen high salary earners create wealth, but it depends on what level they are. Someone like, let's say, Sundar Pichai, if I have to give an example, he's still salaried, but he's still working 9 to 5. This is what I know. But not everybody can reach that stage. Not everybody can go there. I've seen people in Dubai who are earning half a million dirham as a salary per month. But yeah, there are people who are earning half a million or more than half a million in Dubai.
500,000 dirhams a month, so over 6 million dirhams of salary.
Plus perks.
Plus.
Wow. So many things. And that's what defines wealth. So for us, wealth defines what we want and then where you categorize them. So that's it.
So let me ask something fun. So I'm sure when you took the leap of faith, there must have been something that you saw which made you jump, right? What in your banking or financial career, what's the wealthiest person? Obviously no names and stuff, but just details of what is the most enormous amount of wealth that you've seen a person have?
About $100 million into investments, into luxury arts, luxury vintage cars, and he deals with all these high-end luxury watches. So that's his passion. But more often, I've seen him doing a turnover of $200 million and taking maybe 30 to 40% out of it as a net income per a year. And trust me, I've seen only 3 people do that. There's just 3 people in his business and he's able to achieve that $50 million net income.
And what kind of business?
He's into oil.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. So what separates people who are high earners in their salary and from those who really create a massive wealth?
Mindset.
Okay.
It's people whom you rub around with, people whom you go around with. It's the friends whom you make. So it takes a lot of effort to get into such friend circle, especially to make those friends whose mindset is totally different, who think differently, who always talk about money, who always talk about growth, who always talk about new ideas, and and most importantly, implementing it. So that's what makes the earners define.
So let's talk about wealth preservation versus growth. So from your extremely wealthy individuals, at what point in this journey does wealth preservation become more important than growing your wealth?
Responsibilities.
Okay.
Wealth preservation comes with more responsibilities. So it depends at what life cycle stage you are. and what responsibilities you're taking. And then it all depends, as I said, on the mindset of people whom you deal with, whom you rub around yourself with, who are your friends. And then for them, it's more on creating more wealth rather than preserving. So preserving comes at the second stage. Most important first is the wealth creation. And most of the people don't know what wealth creation is. It's like they listen to their friends, they listen to their colleagues. I said, I bought this share, I bought this mutual fund, I bought this ETF, you also buy. So they think that's what is going to give them a kick in creating a wealth, but that's not it. So let me tell you this. So if you have pain somewhere, you go to a doctor. If you have a legal problem, you go to a lawyer. But if you need an advice on finance, why do you go to your friends? You consult a financial advisor, you consult an investment advisor who can guide you well, who can create a structure in your financial pattern and then give you an advice how to get the best out of.
So why do you think a lot of people don't go to a financial advisor?
Now, that's a typical mindset what people don't have, especially in the countries where we live. People.
Do you think the people in the industry have created a bad name for themselves by being over pushy, overselling? Do you think it's the high fees that people think that, the five people on Wall Street, we've heard the bad name of Wall Street, that they make all the money. Do you think it's an inherent mindset, and is that the answer? And what can you, as someone who's creating your own path in this field, what are you doing to break or bust that mindset or bust that myth?
See, I think where you're coming from, I can understand all these Wall Street movies which have come. I can quote Wolf of Wall Street. I see how they have started their journey, putting clients' money into bad stocks and then, giving them, taking high commissions and then making money for themselves rather than for the client. But that doesn't work that way. Maybe, see, every industry has good and bad people. Let me quote this.
Yeah.
So we have to come across those. So the reason why I started this is because of to do for the best interest for the client. It's not for myself. So as I was telling, I didn't have much scope or much reach to work for the best interest of the client. Now, when I started this, I have the scope of working for the best interest of the client. Now, when you say that Wall Street has a bad name in making money for themselves rather than the client, but let me tell you this, there are certain clients where they have made money, enormous money from those Wall Streets as well, and they're doing well.
What about fees? I notice in my conversation with people, even following people on social media, personal finance influencers, Ramit Sethi talks about, how if you pay 1% as fees every year, over a period of time, it compounds into almost 30-40% of your entire portfolio over the span of your investing career that goes into paying fees.
I have not come across such people, but let me tell you, fees actually plays a major role in building a client's portfolio. Let me tell you this, and also,
could you explain that? I mean, so what does that mean?
Okay, so there are advisors who charge 3 to 4% per annum. You're talking about that fees?
Yes, I mean the fees to manage a client's portfolio, or of in 1.5% management fees and all stuff like that.
See, for me, volume matters rather than charging a big fee on a small portfolio. When your volume goes up, when you charge a very small fee, you make more money there rather than squeezing the client immediately on the first transaction or second transaction and then giving them bad advices so that the client never comes back to you again. So it's better to work in the best interest of the client, make him profits, and then take less fees so that the client stays with you for a longer cycle. So every client has a life cycle. So we as an advisors and the client has a life cycle. Let's say 10 years. In this 10 years, it's either a make or break. Now, in this 10 years, if I help the client really make money, maybe not the first, maybe not the second year, but from the third year, I'll also start making money, because when he makes money, that's when I make money. So it's simple. So my prima focus is not to charge client heavily. Let me tell you this, I don't charge anything from the client in order to advise, in order to arrange, or in order to onboard him onto any investment platform and then get him invested anywhere across the globe. And we make our money, or we make our commissions from the providers, or what you call it as banks, rather than from the client.
Sure. Well, that makes sense. I mean, I think what I was trying to understand is the point that you made about the lawyers and the doctors. I'm still trying to figure out why is it. It's an interesting point. I'm trying to figure out why is it that the average person doesn't have, you know, a financial advisor or a financial planner on their speed dial, or as someone who they reach out to or consult with on a regular basis. So
That's the pattern I'm here to break.
okay.
Let me tell you this. Uh, as I said, I'll quote this again. When you have pain, you visit a doctor. When you need any legal help, you visit a lawyer. But when you need advice on how to make money, you never consult a financial advisor, because people think that financial advisor gives me a wrong advice. And see, that uh, pattern has been there since long time. People, I don't know why they think financial advisor is here to squeeze the money out of me and then make himself money rather than making me money. And then I'm here to break that pattern, and I'm here also to make people understand that, as important as a doctor, we are also same. We are not less. We also have done our studies. We have come a long way in burning hands, in killing people. So how a doctor learns in killing his first patient and then comes through a surgery. So we have also come from the same background. So
True. So great. So other than not hiring a financial advisor or not having someone who's helping you in your finances, what other mistakes do you see that high net worth individuals or high earning people, what mistakes are they making?
what mistakes are they making is putting all the eggs in one basket. Let me tell you this. When I say putting all eggs in one basket, they put they give or they have a financial advisor, which is a family office, of course. They give everything to them, trusting them. They don't consult a second advisor. It's like when a doctor suggests you something, you take a second medical opinion. And why don't you take a second financial advisor opinion in that case? So it makes a difference. See, every client situation is different. Every client's financial situation is different. Every client's financial goal is different. So maybe they're not aligning themselves with the financial advisor. Sometimes the financial advisor is working for his best interest. Maybe that product works for him, doesn't work for him. We don't know. So in that case, why don't you go consult a second advisor? Take some part of your money, give it to him so that he can manage it better, and then you can see the difference. So
Do you think 1 million dirhams as an investment portfolio is a good place to start? I mean, I want to know that because then we can start building our conversation on that. So 1 million dirhams, I know if you have that in your investment portfolio, I think it is an achievement to some level. So how would you help someone structure a portfolio of, let's say, 1 million dirhams today?
1 million dirham is too far off. Let me tell you something.
It's too far off.
Too
Okay.
far off. Okay.
Okay.
70 to 80% in UAE people are running paycheck to paycheck. I see people don't even having 6 months of emergency corpus in their bank accounts. Same situation what happened in 2008. Same situation what has happened in 2020 during COVID. Huge job cuts. People didn't have 1 or 2 months of survival money. So first thing is what I suggest people creating, instead of having a 1 million portfolio, first create your emergency fund. Life is too unpredictable these days. You don't know what is going to come up. When you have more responsibilities, it's better to take an emergency fund or consult someone. So in this, we don't need any rocket math. It's very simple. 6 months of your salary or 6 months of your net expenses. I think 6 months of your net expenses is also too less. 6 months of your salary should be always put aside as an emergency
6
corpus.
months of salary.
6 months of salary. Now, when I say 6 months of salary, there can be people earning from 10,000 to 100,000. And if it's 100,000, you need 600,000 aside first, and never touch that money. You put it into any liquid fund, or you put it into a basic fixed deposit, any bank rolling over every 1 month, and then or 3 months or 6 months or a yearly fixed deposit. That's what I recommend. And then you start building your portfolio. So 80% of the people in UAE don't even have 2 months of emergency corpus. So what I recommend first is have 6 months of your emergency corpus, and then start building your portfolio, start building your assets. And then there are a lot of small investments that people can do. I don't know why in UAE people avoid something called as SIP. So that's the fundamental thing which I recommend, having an SIP every month in place.
So let's say I'm recently married. Let's say I'm 30 years old. I have spent all my money till now, but I'm a high earner, so I can keep replenishing my savings. So let's say I use my emergency fund. I'd saved up for my wedding. I'm done. Now I'm back at zero, but I'm high earning. Young couple, 30-year-old, both are working. Can we now start investing and building our emergency fund simultaneously, or should I build my emergency fund first and then start investing?
That's a very good question you asked. But when both wife and husband are working, it's better to have both simultaneously run together, because both income plays a synergy, right? It creates a lot of synergy when two people are earning. And I tell all my friends that if your wife is working, and it's a huge advantage, because one salary can be completely put aside, and then they can save the complete salary aside. And then so this is what I tell: start building your emergency fund, just in case you got married, you have replenished all your savings. I know how marriages are expensive these days. And then when you finish all your savings, start building your savings, which is emergency savings, from the day one, plus also your investments on the day one.
Great. So coming back to the SIP. So in India, it's a very common thing. When I took up my first job when I was 20 years old, I started an SIP. It was 2 or 3,000 rupees a month, and I stopped it after 2 years when I quit my job. Here, I don't see that concept. I have my own thoughts about it, but I would like to hear from you that why is it that here people do not do SIPs? What's the problem, and what is the solution? What are the SIPs that people can look at?
See, we come from a country where financial awareness is slowly growing post COVID. And not only that, let me tell you this: SIP is what we call it in India. It creates a rupee cost averaging while you invest over time, and then gives you a better return than you invest a lump sum, right? And then it doesn't feel heavy on your pocket as well when you're investing in SIP. And then at a peak, at a young age, you can start to go aggressively on SIPs. You can go for small cap funds, you can go for mid cap funds, or you can go for balanced funds. Uh, and I've seen people making money in SIPs, especially me. When I was having my first job in India, I started with a 500 rupee SIP. Can you believe? And then I've created more corpus than people who have invested 1 lakh, 2 lakh rupees over a time. And because a rupee cost average matters. In UAE, I don't know why people don't have this awareness of doing an SIP. And I recommend this to all my clients, that you may be having 100,000 dirhams, 200,000 dirhams, 500,000 dirhams to invest. But why don't you start even something monthly, for your kids' education, for your kids' marriage, for yourself only, just in case you want to meet a goal after 3 years. You have to keep accumulating that money. You don't know where you're going to spend it. You really don't know whether you're going to accumulate that money. But when you start an SIP, there's an 80% probability that you will hit that goal if you do an SIP. So I would recommend an SIP.
So let's say I today tell you I want to start an SIP. How would you, as a friend, we've caught up for a meal or for a cup of chai. I say, and you tell me to start an SIP. I say, how do I start an SIP? Tell me, I'll do it right now. So if someone listening right now, if you were to just give them this free piece of advice right now to start an SIP and they're willing to do it right now, what should they do?
Okay, so off the camera, I'll tell you this. I think 2023 until 2023, we had banks providing that option to do an SIP. But ESCA changed that rules. They said that only a professional investor can invest into these foreign funds, which we call. And unfortunately, right now, there are no direct SIPs which are available in UAE, but you can do feeder fund SIPs which are available in DIFC. And these funds are all across all share classes, all equity classes. And then there are some companies in UAE which can give you an SIP option, and they're really good. Let me tell you this: majority of the SIPs that my clients are doing are into S&P 500, and you can start with as low as $200 a month. And then I've seen clients who are putting $50,000 a month into these SIPs.
And it's in the S&P 500. It's in an ETF.
It's not an ETF. So these are a feeder fund, which goes into the sub ETFs into S&P. They have a basket of ETFs which are directly investing into the S&P. Then you can invest into them.
Super. So do you think, just to take another step back, talking about real estate. So is real estate in Dubai, what are your thoughts on it? And is it something that a lot of people really prioritize in Dubai, or is something they over prioritize in Dubai? You talk to any generally high earning individual, let's say, even if they are 25,000 dirham salary earners, everyone wants a piece of real estate. What are your thoughts on that?
No, it's actually a good thing. Let me tell you this: real estate is more of an emotional investment rather than a financial investment. People don't consult a financial advisor. They go to a real estate agent and then they buy a real estate property. If I throw 10 stones randomly, 8 stones get hit to a real estate agent. There are as many real estate agents in Dubai rather than financial advisors or doctors or anybody. Everybody these days is a real estate agent and everybody thinks they are real estate experts. It's not like that. As I said, real estate people invest more emotionally rather than financially. And owning a home is more close to heart, right? And people are ready to pay that price. They don't know whether they are doing a right uh, buying for their financial standards. They don't know whether they're buying right property based on their financial capability. No, they just want to go for something, either be it a studio or 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms. And I've seen people earning 25,000 going for a villa as well, and paying more than half of their salaries just to put the down payment for 20 years or 25 years of time. Come on, that doesn't make sense.
The part of taking a 25-year loan doesn't make sense.
So for me, real estate, see, I know these banks have 25 years of payment options, but that's not, for me, it's not healthy because you're paying 2 times or 3 times of the property value in interest, right? For me, 8 years, 10 years is the maximum time I will say to go for a mortgage, or maybe maximum 15 years. That's more than what you shouldn't take, because at the end of the day, you're paying up interest. What I feel is, if you have such corpus, why don't you put down in an NA S&P? It gives you a 7.5% return as equal compared to your mortgage interest. And that interest gets compensated to your mortgage payments. So rather than, going full on into a um, property payment and then crunching yourself every month on the EMIs, it's better to have a financial freedom, because sometimes when you have such money, it's rather keep it in a liquid asset rather than an illiquid asset, because real estate I consider is not liquid, it's more illiquid. And a person should only go for it when he really needs it.
So not purely as an investment. It's only if someone needs it. And because then do you have a thumb rule? Let's say I earn 50,000 dirhams a month. How much of that should go towards my mortgage? Because if I, let's say, have a 10-year EMI or 10-year mortgage, so do you have a rule? How much money should I be, or what is the maximum property value I should be looking at?
20% of it maximum. That's what I feel. Because if, as I said, when we quote our first conversation where you said, if I have 1 million dirhams, I want to create a portfolio, how do I do? So 30% is what I feel you have to have your real estate weightage towards, or a mortgage payment towards. So 10,000 or 12,000 is maximum I feel. If you're earning 50,000 dirhams as a salary, should be going towards mortgage payments. Another 20 to 30% into, it depends upon your age, where you are. If you are in 30s, it's better to go for risky investments which actually create wealth on a long-term basis, like small cap funds or small and mid cap investment, wherein you can actually generate better returns compared to your real estate. Because
and these are funds, US based funds or US companies, or when you say small cap funds, are you talking about India, or which country are you referring to?
Globally, doesn't matter. It depends where you want at the end of the day. I still don't want to quote that, but rupee has been depreciating quite well. And I would still say dollar is lucrative for the next 30 years, of course. So better to keep your money in dollars. We see the future going somewhere else. I have to go there, but
we can have a separate conversation about that. But as far as people living in UAE, the expats, I just want to close out that real estate conversation. If people want to relocate from here to other countries, or relocate from other countries to Dubai, how do you, and I'm sure you deal with that on a daily basis, especially now, we're seeing both sides happening. How do you look at it? How do you advise them, or what do you tell them in terms of relocating either to Dubai or away from Dubai?
Away from Dubai, I'd never recommend. There's no question to moving out of Dubai. It's always relocating to Dubai. Right. Because the first thing is the fundamental, we have the better lifestyle here. There's no tax as of now on the income. Second thing is the type of people whom you get to move around with. The company that you can have around with you can make different friends here. Doesn't happen back in the country. It's completely different mindset of people whom I meet here. I love living in Dubai, and I recommend people to move to Dubai rather than moving out. So Dubai is very close to my heart, and I've made money in Dubai. Let me tell you this, and my life changed when I moved to Dubai. So I always recommend people to move to Dubai.
Amazing. I want to understand a little bit more about the mindset that wealthy people have. What is different? How do they think differently? Is it the way they talk? Is it the way they think? Is it the way they choose to live their life? Is their belief system different? How are because I don't when I look at seriously wealthy people, there's nothing different. Uh, there's nothing different. Right? God created everyone the same. So what is it in your opinion that they do differently that anyone listening can pick up a few points and say, okay, let me start working on this thought process?
First thing, they're very disciplined. They're always on time. They're way ahead of time. And let me tell you this: when I meet wealthy people, they make quick decisions. That's what makes them different from being a normal mediocre to a wealthy, is that they say yes or no right in front of us, because they have enough experience to judge when we are sitting in front, saying that is this suitable for me or not. So, and they take decisions very quickly, so that either you move onto the table or you move away from the table. That's one keen point I've seen with wealthy people. And then, as I said, wealthy people always discuss growth. Wealthy people always discuss ideas. Wealthy people always discuss in how to make money rather than burn money. So,
Have you worked with clients who have wanted to pass money from the generation to the next, or who have received money from the previous generation and want to ensure that wealth stays within their family and keeps growing over generations? How does one start thinking about this?
very rare. Let me tell you this. I have met people who have made big in their life starting very small, rather than getting something inherited and then keep making sure that it gets passed on ahead. So that's what made me also think like them, that how to think big. First thing what I've learned is think big. There's no harm in thinking big. There's no money cost in thinking big. So these people are the one who have thought big. Let me tell you this: I've met hotel owners in Dubai who are here and then are planning to open hotels across the globe, and they're very successful right now. I've met people from various backgrounds, from mining backgrounds, from hotel backgrounds, from shipping backgrounds, and all of them have started small and made it big. The only difference is that they think big. Let me tell you this, and they think about growth. They have a very long term vision, and on how to sustain themselves and how to create wealth and how to pass it on. So when I meet these clients, they only discuss about uh, protecting their assets, making sure it's inherited properly to the next generations, and
So what is the at what stage does one start thinking about passing on assets to the next generation or generational wealth? At what dollar value should I start thinking, or will I start thinking about this?
it all depends. Somebody who's having $500,000 also can think. Somebody who's having $500,000 also can think. I would say it's more of having more responsibilities. If you have a family, if you have kids, uh, and then if you have dependents on you, then in that case they start thinking about how I can ensure that this gets passed on safely to them.
Hmm.
So the value is not important. It's the people whom around who are dependent on you matters.
So
Just in case if I'm single, does and I don't leave anything for me and anything for my kids or anything, doesn't matter. But if there are people who are dependent on me,
before I go ahead, I want to go back to something that's been on my mind since we spoke about it. You said most people in Dubai are living paycheck to paycheck.
yes,
Now, those people don't need a finance. I don't know. Those sometimes I feel those people can't afford a financial planner. They're not going to spend even 500 dirhams to book an appointment with a. Let's say if that's what the cost was, they perhaps hopefully will get some good advice from reading books or watching YouTube videos or following some people on social media who hopefully will give them the right advice. They'll hear it, they'll listen to it, and they'll move on. But when you said most people in Dubai are living paycheck to paycheck, how does one go about building an emergency fund? Because if you said 6 months, so if I'm living paycheck to paycheck, to save up 6 months of salary almost seems like an impossibility to me. So,
that's the right question you asked. See, there are many drains that we have when we are living in Dubai. Dubai is all about having a glamorous lifestyle. And the people don't know, they start spending things which actually burn their money rather than creating some emergency corpus. So, what I would say is start with a small SIP. So, this I'll quote the SIP again $200. It costs 900 to 1,000 dirhams a month. You can start saving it, and then probably few years or few months down the lane, you can start increasing that SIP. Instead of 200, you can start saving 400, you can start saving 600. So keep adding more. So it's more about choosing right priorities rather than living without those. And suddenly when you wake up one day and then things are otherwise, and then you look at your bank account and there's nothing, so it scares you more rather than having a small emergency corpus, create a small